Hello viewers, welcome to episode 2 of JB's Garage, Project E36. We have been absolutely inundated with messages and comments asking for a second episode, so we've finally gotten around to a second episode, and I hope you enjoy it, so let's get started.
Alright, so we're going to change the taillights over because we're going to go to more of a factory OEM look, because these are just, I don't know, eBay smoked ones and they're actually leaking, so we picked up these ones. Which are just your factory style coupe light taillights. So this is how you change them out. You just pull this rear cover off. It's just got a little clip that pops off, and there's 4 8mm nuts you just take off here, here, here and here, and you just unpull the wiring loom, and then the whole tail light just slides out. Alright, so we've just changed the tail lights over, so they're a lot better looking now. A lot more factory, but we found out that the brake light isn't working on this, and we've changed the bulbs around. We've tried modifying the actual the circuit on the back of it to try and make it connect better, and it still doesn't work, so it's probably got some dodgy wiring somewhere throughout it. So it's a problem for another time that we'll try and sort out at a later date, but at least they're in for now. So we figured out what the issue is with the brake lights, was that the positive wire on this harness wasn't actually getting any power to it. So we checked it with a multimeter and it wasn't getting anything to it at all. So all we did was just spliced into the cable here, which is running to the other side, and just ran a cable back into this one. So now they're working pretty well. So now they both light up, as well as the center. The next issue with them is that this reverse light is working, but this side isn't. So I might just do the same thing and just splice a wire and just run another wire to that cable. Just an easy fix rather than trying to trace the cables all the way back to the front of the cab, but probably be something I'll try and do later on, but really can't be bothered right now. But at least all the brake lights work now, so that's good, that's handy.
Okay, so what we're doing here is cutting this hose, because we're going to be installing a temperature gauge. And this is what we're going to be putting in there. So you cut the hose, and then you'll slide this in either side with a couple of hose clamps, and you run your connectors up to your gauge, and then it'll actually give you a degrees of what your coolant is running as it's coming out of the engine. So it's far more accurate than the OEM temperature gauge. Yeah.
So we just installed a new temp sensor, so we can run an actual temp gauge that reads in degrees Celsius, because we didn't really trust the factory one because it's pretty old, so we just put one in anyway. So all we've done is we've connected a waterproof plug here. It's just an eBay one, so it's pretty simple. It just has a positive and negative, and then we've just run it through under the intake back here, just through a little grommet through the firewall. Get down there, just down through the firewall there. So we can run it down into all the factory wiring. I should grab the torch before we do this. And then all we've done here is you need to wire in 12 volt constant. You need, if you want to have it run with your lights, you need to hook it into run with your cluster backlighting. What else was there? We connected it to the ground, and then just one to your accessories. So we connected this one, so we put the orange.
So those 2 green ones are the ones coming in from the engine bay.
Yeah, so this one's your positive from your sensor, which just connects to the positive on the sensor towards the gauge. Then this is just your ground for the sensor, which we've just connected all 3 of these to the same ground here.
Which is a brown wire.
Yeah, which is the brown wire. Yep. Then we've hooked in your 12 volt constant, which is the orange, into this red and white wire, which is all just connected here in the factory one. And then we've connected, this is the accessories one, which all your accessories on an E36 run on the same purple cables. So we just spliced into this purple and white cable, so it actually turns on when we put it in accessories. And this white one here, we've connected to the, we used a different color, but the factory is gray and red. So your gray and red is all of your your back cluster lights and all your backlighting on pretty much everything in your car. So we just spliced into one of them to run it. So That's actually connected to the dim as well, so you can actually dim your gauge with everything else, which we'll show you now. Do you want to go turn it on? I'll film this.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's just the standard SAS water temp gauge. It's a bit more accurate than the one we had in the car though, so you can see it works, and then when you turn the lights on it turns on, but you can actually dim it with the dim switch as well. So it makes it pretty handy, so it works with everything else in the car, as you can see. So dim it again, man. Just keep dimming it.
Oh, yeah.
So when you dim this, everything in the car actually dims with it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. So if you're not competent in wiring though, I wouldn't attempt doing something like this, because if something shorts out, your whole car's going to catch on fire. So I'd leave it to someone who's a trained professional. If you're not competent in doing wiring, always make sure you solder and heat shrink all of your wiring. Don't just twist and tape it, because that's never a good idea. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward way to hook up a gauge into your car, get it running well with all of the backlights, so yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. And if you've got any comments, leave them down below.
I don't think that's supposed to be happening, Ben.